All right, guys, welcome back. This is Sean, and we are going over the top 5 things you need to look at whenever you're trying to buy a new Airbnb investing property. The actual things in the property or of the property that you need to consider. Now, in our last video, we did go over what you need to look at in the territory. This is part of a playlist that I'm creating for you. It's a free course, basically a step-by-step guide on if you want to get into Airbnb investing because you want to retire early, or you want to see the success that some of us are having through Airbnb investment. It's going to go through each individual step, and every single video is going to cover that. So I do talk a lot, so there's going to be a lot of information, so buckle up, and then I hope to be a part of your early retirement plan. Okay, so let's get into today's topic. So the first thing I like to consider whenever you're trying to invest in Airbnb investments is the actual amount of bedrooms in the home. And so I know this doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but follow me here. So a traditional real estate investment, the best one that you can get is typically a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You can do a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, but the reason why is that we're talking about appreciation. And so in Airbnb or traditional real estate investing, you got 4 key factors in how you can create wealth. You have tax benefits, you have cash flow, you have appreciation, which is basically how much you bought the house for and then how much it's worth over a period of time. And then lastly, you have debt paid down by the renters. Now, it's true, if you get a bigger house with many more rooms, you will have greater cash flow. Fantastic. But if Airbnb falls through, then that's not going to be good for your appreciation long term, because traditional renters are typically looking for 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, or 3-bedroom, 3-baths. That's the same for people that are trying to buy their first home, or medium to moderate income couples as well. They're typically looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or 3-bedroom, 3-bath. And so what does that mean to you? That means that that's what you should buy. But for the flexibility of us to have larger parties on Airbnb, I push it just a little bit and I do a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, or a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. And so that is where the sweet spot to me is that way I get that extra room, but I don't have to pay significantly more, and it still has the high appreciation rate of a traditional home. So say it with me, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 4-bedroom, 4-bath. All right, good. Moving on to the next one. Number 2. The second thing you guys got to consider is that HOAs are one of your worst enemies. And so a lot of people reach out to me. Majority of people that don't know much about real estate investing or Airbnb investing, or they didn't watch my videos, is that typically they say they want to get a condo. And the reason why is that it's lower price than a traditional home, and also typically has a better location for what people are trying to do on Airbnb. But condos are out. Even townhomes that have an HOA, a lot of townhomes have HOAs, they're out too. So just take them out of your mind. If you don't have complete ownership on your property, then you're going to have someone else telling you what to do with your property. And most of the time, they're going to tell you to do things that you don't want to do, or telling you can't do things that you want to do. In this case, Airbnb, when it comes to HOAs, is extremely rare to have an HOA saying that you can do Airbnb. So that's it. Moving on to the next one. Quick and easy. HOA, get rid of it. Oh, yeah, real quick, before we get into number 3. Number 3 is a big one, it's a doozy, so it's going to take a while to explain through this. So in the meantime, prepare yourself, get your thinking cap on, and like and subscribe. It's a really good time to like and subscribe. I'll wait for you guys to do it. Oh, and then since you just did that, make sure to hit the notification bell as well. That helps me, like every time I put something out, I'll let you know. And also leave a comment below if you guys like this video. Tell me another cool idea that you want to see in another video. And if I can quickly answer your questions, I'll make sure to do that. Number 3, so we're going to talk about the actual property itself and the things you want and don't want in there. The main thing I want to talk about is that most everyone I speak to, they want a pool or a hot tub. That is not smart. Don't do a pool or a hot tub. Majority of people that come to Airbnbs won't even use the pool in the first place, and the ones that do are probably partiers, and they're probably going to trash it anyways. Same thing with a hot tub. It's a safety risk, and also most of the times you're going to have to deal with the cleaners getting upset about something that happened in the hot tub anyways, and so just avoid it altogether. Trust me, personal experience, just don't do it. And another thing is that if you are looking at the home, 2 bedrooms are cool, or two-story houses are cool, and I have one as well. It does really well. But if you're trying to just for your first investment property, I recommend just doing a basic single-family structure, 1-story, super easy. And then if you can, do it with bricks. If you can have a brick base around your house, then it's good for long-term investing. You don't have to necessarily worry about it as much as a wood panel. And then also, I personally like I mean, it depends. You can talk to whoever you want to talk to, but I like to have a little crawl space under, and because it makes it a lot easier to do any kind of fixes with the plumbing or any kind of stuff that has to do with foundation. It's super easy versus if you do what's called a slab. And a slab is basically just if you build a house on top of concrete, and slabs are a lot of preferred for people that are homeowners, but when it comes to investors, a slab is a lot more expensive to do work under the house or if you have to do any kind of foundation work. So if you want to do kind of older homes, it's okay if you have a pier and beam is what it's called when you have the crawl space, called pier and beam. And so I personally like investing in pier and beam. Another thing I want you guys to consider is I want you to have a large lot, but not too large of a lot. And so what do I mean by this? If you're investing in a lot that is too large and that you're not going to be using the extra space, then a lot of times you're just going to be paying extra taxes, and property taxes can kill you. But in the places that I like to invest, I like to have just enough room in my backyard to make it kind of eventful, like an event space. I have one house that has like a big old yurt / teepee, and then a stage on one of the other ones, a bunch of Christmas lights, and just overall, you just want a cool backyard, but not a massive backyard. I also like to invest in properties that have a little bit of extra space so that once I get to the max point on my loans and then I can't buy any more properties through traditional lenders, then I can go back and build tiny homes on every single one of my houses. And now I just basically took, say for instance, 5 homes and I put tiny homes on all of them. Now I got 10 homes basically, and I have 10 listings that I could possibly do, or create that to expand the listing I currently already have. And so creative way to build out your home to having more rooms and even make it more marketable. And so another thing I want you guys to consider when you're talking about the structure of the home is that you really want to make sure that the home is going to basically be renovated already. Now, you don't want a full flip. You don't want to pay, like whenever you're paying for a really nice modern home that's had a complete flip, you're buying it at a premium, most high price I could possibly buy for. But if you have a basic renovation, not the home that was built in, say for instance, 1900 and nothing's ever happened, but if it has basic granite countertops and basic nice wood floors or tile floors or something like that, you want to make sure that the renovation costs that you're going to do are zero or like under $20,000. You don't want to do, a lot of people want to show, can I get this trash property and then fully gut it and then flip it and then put it on Airbnb? I mean, technically you could, yes, but here's the thing. We talk about cash on cash a lot on this channel, and what cash on cash is the amount of money you're making based on the amount of money that you put in. And so you want the most amount of cash on cash as possible, that way you can keep that gravy train rolling as fast as possible and invest again really quickly. If you put a whole $100,000 into a property, it's gonna take away a lot of your opportunity to be buying multiple properties as fast as possible, and then you build out your roots as far as possible, and then from there, digging them down in the tree analogy. And then the last thing I want you guys to consider whenever you're talking about the actual structure of the home is the ability for you to have high fences. I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but trust me, having a 10-foot fence is awesome, because then you're allowed to have a lot more guests in the back without pissing off your neighbors. And so always, if you don't already have a 10-foot fence, just totally convince yourself to just go ahead and think of that as an investment opportunity. Invest in your home, put a 10-foot fence. Point number 4. So make sure that when you guys are looking at homes, and especially these older homes, that you get larger rooms. And the reason why is that the most profitability that you can get on Airbnb is if you can fit the most amount of people into your spot in actual beds. Not air mattresses, not fold out couches, but actual beds. Now, you still should have air mattresses and you should still have sofa beds that are in all your listings to maximize the amount of people that can stay there. But if you can fit 2 beds in every single one of your 3 rooms, and then the last of your 4 rooms is going to have like a king size bed or a large queen size bed or something like that can be like the couple that paid the most on Airbnb, or the rest could be like the people that want the budget and the person that want to spend a little bit more can get that big room. You want to have one master suite that has an attached bathroom, but the rest of the rooms, you can fit as many beds in there as possible. I recommend not doing a bunch of just twin beds. I recommend at least doing fulls and above. If you can try to fit 2 queens in each room, that would be super cool too. If you're kind of appealing to a larger demographic of people as well in age ranges, then you can also consider 3-story bunk beds. You can get like 2 3-story bunk beds in a room, or just 2 bunk beds in a room. But just keep this in mind. That's where you're really going to make your money, is when you have a lot of options for people to sleep in actual beds. All right, number 5, final point is marketability. I know this goes without saying, but it's really important that you guys find a house that has something unique. And if you can't find something about the house and it's such a killer deal and you're just like, you know what, I know it's basic, but at the same time, it's such a good deal, it's in such a good area, then it's up to you to make it marketable. And so, say for instance, one of my clients, Nick, whenever we bought the house, he had a rock wall in one of the rooms. I'm like, what? I've never seen a rock wall in someone's house before. And so whenever people come to his house, they book it specifically because there's a big old rock wall that people can play around on. Also, for one of my listings, I have, like I mentioned earlier, a big old yurt. And so that's cool and marketable. Like, what is up with that? And a big old bonfire area. I have another property, like I said, which has a stage. And so people that want to have, like, I've had people do salsa lessons out there. I have people do live bands out there, all sorts of fun stuff. So what is it about your property that makes it unique? One of my best friends, Sean Rakajic, he's got a property up in Philly that was just a basic, not great property. And so what he did is he hired one of his friends as a muralist, and they painted an entire house. It was like this adventure land. And on the wall, there's gnomes and there's forests, and then as you go up the staircase, there's like unicorns, and then the whole upstairs is all unicorns painted everywhere, unicorn themed everything. And that property kills it right now because it's so marketable. And so when you're looking at these properties, figure out what it is that makes it unique, cool, and stand out. And again, if it doesn't, you just got to make it happen. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And then make sure to stay tuned, hit that notification bell, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. The next video, we're going to be talking about a topic of, can you do this on your own, or should you do this with a real estate agent? Make sure to stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys soon. Make sure, if you're on Instagram, Sean Realty, if you want to see all my daily shenanigans. All right, see you guys.